Would anyone even notice if I just disappeared tomorrow? Sincerely, your best and most dearest friend, me.
No one signed your cast. Now we can both pretend we have friends. Dear Evan Hansen, here you go.
Yeah, that's mine. I'll just take it. Wait, I need that back. Please don't show it to anyone.
I had not seen the Broadway show, but I was familiar with what it was about. And I loved the film version that you brought to screen. Yes, I thought you did such a fantastic job. I loved the weaving of the songs. And you had written musical adaptations before with like Rent and Beauty and the Beast. This one you did not, but you decided to direct. So why did you want to helm this film?
I saw it about 3 years ago on Broadway, and I knew nothing about the story. I just, I knew it won some Tony Awards. I heard it was good. When I saw it, now you've seen the film, it's the same kind of feeling. It's like, wow, that was surprising. I didn't know, I thought it was going to be like this sweet little earnest story about a kid who was struggling. And it becomes this like amazing story that's so surprising and ultimately redemptive and was about something. It was complicated. And the music was phenomenal. The writing was great. The characters were great. I just loved it. And I remember calling my team the next day and just saying, look, if they're going to do this movie, I want in. I want to do this so much, because fundamentally, just as a person and as an artist, I knew that this could make millions of kids feel less alone. I knew that it could shed some light on mental health issues, and also maybe give parents a little bit of a roadmap to like have these conversations with their kids. It basically could do some good in the world, and that's what really ultimately matters. Like, I believe that art has a place and a responsibility to help, and to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And so I don't know, it checked every box I was in. I loved it.
It has the comedic elements, but it also has those elements that make you a little bit uncomfortable and force you to think about things from a different perspective and yes, how you feel about what's going on. And I think you're right. If there's an opportunity that art can ever make us kind of self-reflect or check our own behavior, that's something really positive. And like you mentioned, within the area of mental health, whether that's not feeling alone or whether that's anxiety, maybe talk a little bit about how you think, it could do good for that.
First of all, fundamentally, whenever we talk about it, the stigma is decreased that much more, right? When I think back, there's been my family, my wife's family, there's been some struggles with, and I think back 2-3 generations when it was never talked about, and now it is, and it's like just that alone, right away, there's a little more light on it, and when there's more light, there's more hope always. I also think that by showing this character who struggles with depression, social anxiety, and all these other issues, by talking very, very honestly about very tough subjects like suicide. But at the same time, with all that, not forgetting that movies can actually still be entertaining and music can still be very fun, and that you can like have a catchy tune with great lyrics, and not forgetting that both are, you can't really have lie without understanding truth, and you can't really have dark without light, and you can't, have redemption without sin. And so all these things are going into it. So, but going back to your point about mental health, to me, I just wanted to talk about it honestly as much as I could, so that the kid who might feel ashamed that they're feeling depressed, whether they're like Evan, who really wears his problems on his sleeve, or a character like Alana, who seems perfect, whatever it is, or a character like Connor that who does this tragic thing. It's that all these things are represented, and the more that we see it, the more we can talk about it. The more we talk about it, the closer we become, the better lives that we have.
Yeah. One of the songs that I loved was the Sincerely Me, where we have, the 3 different angles, and, the world's still going on around them, and it's the blending. Talk to me about filming that and pulling that off so that it was so seamless for us and fun as they're trying to, describe their inner feelings, as you mentioned.
Thank you for mentioning Sincerely Me, which I will say selfishly is my favorite sequence, because it's the one time in the show and the movie that gets to be unabashedly musical, capital M, dancing, singing, fun. It's hilarious. Jared is he's so sarcastic, and I think for me, filming that was one of the joys. The idea of like, on stage, and Michael Greif is a great director. He just has the stage. They're just kind of bouncing around. But I got to like have go-karts and Pump It Up, the video game. And, and I love the convention as they're writing the emails when he keeps repeating them and they keep changing the lines, that he keeps repeating the action. It was great fun to put together with the whole creative team and the actors. I mean, my gosh, like you can't believe Ben Platt, Colton Ryan, and Nick Dodani are so fun, and their dancing is so fun. I don't know. Thank you for mentioning that one. I'm surprised you brought it up, because like you went from mental health to the most ludicrous part of the movie, and that was wonderful.
Well, it was so fun because I was watching the film, and that was the point where I turned to my husband. I just looked at him. I said, "I love this. I love this film. It's great because I know it's going to take me everywhere and anywhere, and it's going to be fun and serious, and we can have conversations. But at its heart, it's still entertaining. And then it brings me to the other song that was my favorite within it, was the "So Small, So Big" that Julianne Moore sings, and that was the one that just really got me, because I could visualize a child sitting there wondering if a parent's ever coming back. And there's so many broken homes within America, whether you're dealing with any of these other pressures that have been going on in the world. Maybe talk to me a little bit about the vulnerability that's shared there.
You mentioned that song. That's the one that when I saw it on Broadway, when that came up, it was so surprising. And I almost did a true ugly cry. I'm talking an audible, like in the audience. And it took all of my boy raised in Pittsburgh to like, just no, you can cry, it's fine. But it is such a remarkable song. And just Evan, who in that moment is at his lowest, he hates himself so much. He's done this bad thing. He's seen the pain he's caused. He just feels like maybe he's not worth even being around. And to have his mother, really get him out of that darkness by talking about this thing that she's been through. I just thought it was just a remarkable song. And in terms of, listen, as a director, what you do is you try to make the atmosphere as kind and supportive and as intimate as possible, because the actors have to go to these vulnerable places. What Ben Platt does in that scene, silently listening to her, is remarkable. And what Julianne Moore does with it is so true and intimate and tender and authentic. And it's like she took all of her experiences as a mother and just put it into that song. It's a really magical moment of film. I'm very proud to be associated with it.
I felt like it was a time where you can have a perspective shift. And there's so many times in life, some people it's easier to just kind of take your own step back out of a mess and say, okay, everything's going to be okay. Maybe not today, but down the road. Where other people, they can't do that. And that's where, we unfortunately have a lot of, resulting things that end in suicide or problems within families and so forth. But so one of the things that I loved about that was this idea that he was having somebody help him kind of reshift his lens, the way that he looked at the world. And I feel like it's so relatable on any level for children to adults, especially with everything that we've gone through and are still going through right now in the current climate of the country, and just the need to kind of focus on what's important, how you're going to weather through something, and like trying to block out the noise. For you, how is that done?
Well, what a complicated question.
I know.
That's kind of remarkable. No, it's rather great. I think that you speak about the pandemic. So we all know, because we've all lived it, and we as a world, we've never lived through anything quite like this before. Certainly, they travel with a speed that hit everywhere at once. So we all know the effect it's had on the isolating kids. We all know that it's led to more depression. I heard a statistic that the average teenager now experiences the same level of anxiety as a mental hospital patient did in the 1950s. That is what's happening. And between the pandemic and the social media and everything else that's going on. So because of that, I think a movie like this that talks directly about this, and also to show, like you said, like a character like Evan, that even at his lowest, he deserves redemption. Like he confesses, he goes through this journey, and by going through this journey, he comes out the other side. And the ultimate theme of the movie, which is so brilliantly written by Stephen Levinson, is realized that no hiding, no lying, just be yourself, and that's enough. That's a great, we all deserve to be respected and loved for where we are. And the more that we tell the truth, I think the more authentic we are, the closer we're going to become. I think it's a wonderful message. It's funny. Some people just get fixated on the lie, like he lied and he's bad and that's it. And they dismiss him. To me, no, I don't buy that at all. It wasn't the way I was raised. You say, look, here's this teenager whose father won't return his texts. His mom works all the time. He's alone in that house all the time. He's so alone in the world. And he becomes this thing for this family with no malicious intent. He loves them and they love him. And yet it's an unsustainable thing because it's based on a lie. And what we need to do is be true and then be loved for that. That to me is the ultimate message. And I think the way that the three authors told it was just fantastic.